Good morning and welcome to A News. I'm Bakhtiar Asanov and let's see the headlines. Donald Trump pardons 1,500 January 6 defendants in a sweeping executive order on day one of his second term. U.S. Senate confirms Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. Algeria demands accountability from France for colonial-era nuclear tests. On January 20th, history is made again as Donald Trump returns to the steps of the Capitol for his second inauguration. His speech echoed his bold rhetoric and commitment to reshaping America's future, marks the beginning of a new chapter in his political legacy. Let's see the key themes of his address for the nation and the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President-elect of the United States, the Honorable Donald John Trump.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world. And we have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly. From this moment on, America's decline is over. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country. We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the United States Navy. And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars. We will be proud, we will be strong, and we will win like never before. We will not be conquered, we will not be intimidated, we will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely, we will live proudly, we will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun. Thank you. God bless America. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
After taking office on Monday, Donald Trump signs few orders taking steps to curb immigration, slash environmental regulations, and withdraw from an international climate treaty. Trump pardoned nearly all individuals charged in the Capitol riots on January 6, 2021, including 14 members of far-right groups, fulfilling a key campaign promise. He swiftly enacted policies to curb immigration and roll back regulations. The president issued 10 executive orders, including a hiring freeze and mandates for in-office work. Trump also directed the United States to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement, enforcing his 2017 decision and prioritizing his America First agenda. He announced that the United States would exit the World Health Organization, accusing it of mishandling the COVID-19 pandemic. World leaders congratulated Donald Trump on his inauguration as the 47th U.S. president, highlighting opportunities for stronger global partnerships and cooperation in his second term.
World leaders extended congratulations to Donald Trump on his inauguration as the 47th President of the United States on January 20th, marking the beginning of his second term. In messages shared via social media, several high-profile figures praised the US-led global partnerships and expressed optimism for the future under Trump's leadership. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu commended the Great Alliance between Israel and the US, highlighting key achievements of Trump's first term, such as the Abraham Accords and the decision to withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
President Trump, Sarah and I send our warmest wishes to you, Melania, and the American people on your second inauguration as President of the United States. Your first term as President was filled with groundbreaking moments in the history of the great alliance between our two countries.
In Europe, the inauguration was met with praise from UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who emphasised the enduring special relationship between the UK and the US, predicting continued collaboration for years to come.
On behalf of His Majesty's Government and the United Kingdom, I would like to send my warmest congratulations to President Trump on his inauguration as the 47th President of the United States. For centuries, the relationship between our two nations has been one of collaboration, cooperation, and enduring partnership. It is a uniquely close bond. Together, we have defended the world from tyranny and worked towards our mutual security and prosperity.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, in a message posted on X, celebrated Trump's inauguration as a chance to strengthen peace efforts, emphasizing Ukraine's readiness to collaborate with the US to achieve true peace.
I wish President Trump and all of America success. Ukrainians are ready to work together with Americans to achieve peace, true peace.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen emphasized the importance of US-EU cooperation on global challenges and shared prosperity. Other leaders, including Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, also offered congratulations, highlighting shared opportunities for growth, security, and global collaboration in the years ahead. As Trump begins his second term, he enters office once again as a figure committed to reshaping US foreign policy, with a focus on remaking government institutions and re-evaluating international alliances.
As global conflicts intensify, the 47th U.S. President Donald Trump is outlining his approach to handling international crises during his second term. From the war in Ukraine to tensions in the Middle East, Trump promises a unique strategy focused on peace through strength. But how would his strategies affect these unstable regions? Let's take a closer look.
Donald Trump has made it clear his foreign policy will center on reducing US involvement in endless wars, while asserting American dominance on the world stage. He claims his experience as a deal maker will help him bring peace to some of the world's most complex conflicts. On the war in Ukraine, Trump has promised to broker a peace deal within 24 hours of taking office, though he has not offered specifics on how he would achieve such a rapid resolution. Critics question whether his close relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin could influence his approach, potentially at the expense of Ukraine's sovereignty. Trump has also hinted at reassessing US military aid to Ukraine, suggesting that European allies should bear a greater share of the burden. This stance echoes his first-term policy of pressuring NATO members to increase defense spending. In the Middle East, Trump plans to build on the Abraham Accords, which normalized relations between Israel and several Arab nations during his first term. He argues that these agreements lay the groundwork for a broader peace strategy, including a potential resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. However, tensions in Gaza and the West Bank pose significant challenges. Meanwhile, Trump has vowed to adopt a harder stance on Iran, calling for tougher sanctions and even hinting at military action if Tehran moves closer to developing nuclear weapons. This marks a stark contrast to the Biden administration's efforts to revive the Iran nuclear deal. Trump's promises on global conflicts highlight a blend of bold rhetoric and controversial strategies. While his supporters praise his America First approach, opponents warn that it could alienate allies and escalate tensions.
The U.S. Senate unanimously confirmed Marco Rubio as Secretary of State on Inauguration Day, marking the first cabinet appointment of President Donald Trump's second term. The new Secretary of State becomes the first Hispanic individual to serve in his role. A staunch critic of China and a strong supporter of Israel, Rubio was confirmed by a 99-0 vote following a smooth confirmation hearing. A son of Cuban immigrants, the new appointee emphasized the need for the United States to reduce its reliance on China and adopt a foreign policy focused on American interests. He also addressed the war in Ukraine, suggesting that both Russia and Ukraine would need to make territorial concessions for peace. Additional votes on Trump's nominees are expected this week as the administration moves forward with its appointments. The annual meeting of World Economic Forum kicked off in Davos on January 20th, featuring over 350 governmental leaders, 1,600 business leaders, and key figures from international organizations. Our Guy Sean has more on the forum's agenda for today.
Well, a very good morning from day two here at the World Economic Forum in Davos. And as the town wakes up behind me, world leaders, corporate CEOs, and thousands of other delegates are also getting ready for a busy schedule of events today. Let's just take a look at what we can expect from day 2 here at Davos. Well, just after 8 a.m. CET, Accenture CEO Julie Sweet and Amazon Web Services CEO Matt Garman, they'll be taking part in a panel discussion asking all about what needs to happen now to tap into the true potential of artificial intelligence. Adina Friedman, Chair and CEO of NASDAQ, and the former US Secretary of the Treasury, Larry Summers, he'll be speaking later this morning all about how to boost growth in global economies. Then at 9:30 Central European Time, Simon Steele, Executive Secretary of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, he'll also be chairing a session on the agenda for COP30 in Brazil and how to build on the success of the Baku breakthrough and unlock a new era for collaboration on climate action. Klaus Schwab, of course, the forum's founder and chairman, he'll be delivering his welcoming remarks at around about 10:30 CET, followed by a special address by the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. Then this afternoon, we will also hear from German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, and bosses from Coca-Cola and Bank of America will be bringing the focus back to business as the forum agenda moves into this evening. So, a lot to look out for, a lot to discuss on day 2 here at the World Economic Forum. Our team will be here throughout the day, keeping you up to date as events unfold. Guy Schoen for A News on day 2 at Davos.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has emphasized the importance of implementing all stages of the Gaza Ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas, ensuring the uninterrupted flow of humanitarian aid to the region. Speaking at a press conference in Ankara alongside Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan highlighted key points of the ongoing truce and broader regional issues. President Erdogan addressed the international community's responsibility to ensure Israel fulfills its commitments under a 3-phase truce, the first phase of which began on Sunday. He reiterated Turkey's firm stance on supporting the establishment of an independent, sovereign Palestinian state based on the 1967 borders, with East Jerusalem as its capital. He also stressed the importance of lifting international restrictions on Syria to start its reconstruction. Erdogan underscored that they discussed the possibility for Slovakia to contribute to reconstruction efforts both bilaterally and in the EU. Turkish President said that during the meetings they discussed ways to further deepen relations between Turkey and Slovakia. He noted that they elevated relations to the level of strategic partnership with a joint declaration. Gaza ceasefire took effect since Sunday. Our Maria Rodriguez Abalde brings the latest updates on the implementation, reporting from Jerusalem.
3 Israeli hostages were returned to Israel by Hamas and 90 Palestinian security prisoners were released by Israel as the ceasefire took effect at 11:15 a.m., almost 3 hours later than planned. The deal will see 33 hostages released, which condition is not known, and some are reported to have been killed in the first 42-day phase in exchange for the release of security prisoners, humanitarian aid, and an IDF withdraw to a security perimeter around Gaza 1,100 meters from the Israeli border. It's expected for the next Saturday the release of 4 more Israeli women, but this first phase also marked the start of a 3-stage process yet to be fully hashed out, with many in Israel and Gaza fearful that it could fall apart before reaching a so-called day after, leaving scores still in captivity and plowing the streak back into devastating conflict. In Israel, the finalizing of the first part of the deal brought relief for 3 hostages' families after 50 months of pain, but for others, it brought another prolonging of uncertainty.
Algeria is calling on France to take full responsibility for the lasting effects of nuclear tests conducted in the Algerian desert during the colonial era. This demand was made by Saleh Gojil, the chairman of Algeria's Council of the Nation. Gojil highlighted that many Algerians, particularly in regions affected by the explosions, continue to suffer from the harmful consequences of the tests. The French conducted over 10 nuclear explosions in Algeria between 1960 and 1966, with lasting environmental and health impacts on local communities. Azerbaijan has resumed gas supplies to Bulgaria after a brief interruption earlier this month. The Bulgarian company Bulgaria Gas confirmed the supply was restored on January 19th, following technical issues. The interruption, which began on January 7th, was caused by a technical issue at BP's Alpha platform in the Shah Deniz gas field. Operations were halted due to problems in the underwater condensate pipeline. BP Azerbaijan resumed production from the Shah Deniz Alpha platform on the evening of January 18th, after the problem was completely eliminated, and gas supplies to Bulgaria are now back on track. Wars and revolutions are remembered not only for political changes, but also for powerful symbols. Flowers and trees have become important symbols representing the spirit of struggle, desires for peace, and determination of the people during these times. In the following narrative, we will explore the spiritual power of symbolic natural elements in different countries and their place in the collective memory of the people.
The red poppy flower has become a symbol of respect for soldiers who lost their lives in war. This tradition emerged after World War I and gradually became a significant expression of honouring those who died in military service. The connection between the red poppy and war is rooted in the famous poem In Flanders Fields, written by Canadian poet John McCrae in 1915. In the poem, the red poppies that adorn soldiers' graves represent the marks of war and death. Every year on November 11th, during Remembrance Day events in the UK, millions of people wear red poppies on their chests to commemorate the 1918 peace agreement and the sacrifices of the fallen soldiers. This tradition is not limited to the UK, but is also widely practiced in countries such as Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. In the Vietnam War, the almond tree became a symbol with significant spiritual meaning. In many battlefields and refugee camps, almond trees were often seen as a refuge and shelter, embodying nature's strength and resistance. Furthermore, after the war, almond trees were chosen as a symbol of Vietnam's recovery and reconstruction. Despite the horrors of the Vietnam War, the tree's durability became a symbol of the country's rebuilding efforts and the struggle for independence. The Tunisian Jasmine Revolution of 2010 marked the first spark of the Arab Spring revolutionary wave. It all began in December 2010, when 26-year-old street vendor Mohamed Bouazizi set himself on fire due to unemployment and corruption. This dramatic act ignited widespread anger, leading to mass protests across the country. The demonstrations against years of corruption and political injustice eventually forced 23-year-long President Zine El Abidine Ben Ali to resign in January 2011 and flee the country. In Kyrgyzstan, the Tulip Revolution of April 2005 marked a new phase in the country's political life. Protests, initially sparked by allegations of election fraud, quickly spread across the nation. Thousands of people seized government buildings, demanding the resignation of President Askar Akayev. Unable to withstand the pressure, Akayev fled to Moscow. The Tulip Revolution became a symbol of the struggle for democracy in the region, and the tulip chosen by the protesters emphasized the non-violent nature of the revolution. In Georgia, the Rose Revolution in November 2003 marked the beginning of a new political era in the country's history. opposition forces, claiming the falsification of parliamentary elections, began mass protests. Protesters used roses as a symbol to emphasize the peaceful message of their struggle, eventually forcing then-President Eduard Shevardnadze to resign. The Rose Revolution became a symbol of democratic movements not only in Georgia, but also in other post-Soviet countries. In Azerbaijan, the carnation flower has become a powerful symbol of sorrow, pride, and remembrance, particularly after the tragic events of January 20th, 1990. During the bloody events of that day, when Soviet troops carried out an assault on Baku, hundreds of people were martyred. Since then, the carnation has been placed on the graves of martyrs to honor the memory of those who sacrificed their lives for freedom. Every year, on January 20th, thousands of people visit the Martyrs' Alley, laying carnation wreaths to show respect for the fallen. This flower not only represents sorrow for the past, but also embodies hope for the future and the spirit of resistance.
That's all for now, but don't go anywhere. Stay tuned to A News for more exclusive updates. We'll be back soon.